Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today's guest comes to us from Boquete, Panama. He is Gilberto Barria-Vallarino. He helps people improve the functionality of their joints and muscles by coaching them on how to improve their posture. During the past 2 years, he has focused on the dysfunction caused by sitting on chairs and looking at screens for extended periods of time. And it gives me a great pleasure to have Gilberto here with us today. Welcome, Gilberto.
Thank you, Irina. It's really exciting to be here with you, joining you in this podcast. And yes, you just gave a summary of what I do help people with. I've been doing that since 1989 in one way or another, basically helping people how to become more aware of the resources they have in their body, the physical resources, which when you start looking at it with attention and intimately, you will start noticing that it's connected to your emotions, to your feelings, and also to your spirit and your mindset. All of those things are a unit.
Yes, and that's exactly why I have you here today, because I share the same philosophy that we are all connected. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, coming it all together. And that's why I have here with you today. And I want to ask you, can you share with us how you help people with postural dysfunction, aches and pains today? How do you do that?
Okay, the first thing I do is I ask them to, if I have the opportunity of having them lying on the floor, I just ask them to close their eyes, feel their breath, and start noticing the weight of their body on the floor. Mm-hmm. And all they have to do is just follow the instructions I give them. I guide them through certain movements that will help them wake up the neurons that connect one thing to the other. So it's a very physical experience, and it's a little bit like just noticing what's already there, but you haven't been paying attention to it. So it's nothing out of this world, but it may feel like that depending on what you have been doing. If you've been paying attention, then it won't be so foreign. But if you are like totally disconnected, then it's going to take a while to start acknowledging that and seeing how you can open up the space, because that's the objective of everything. It's just to open up the space inside.
Right, and it's probably difficult because we live in this fast-paced world where we just rush. We ignore those basic things, we take them for granted, and it takes time to kind of zone in and listen to our body. What does it want? What needs does it have? We forget, we just rush off. And I can take myself as an example. I used to take walking for granted until I dislocated my knee. And then I started appreciating how great it is to walk, a simple act of walking. And now every day I walk, I say, I'm grateful the fact that I'm walking. Thank you.
Exactly. And we tend to sit too much.
Yes.
That's why I've also worked with people sitting. I mean, many of the techniques I teach are on the floor. Some are standing, like Tai Chi and Qigong. But in the past 2 years, I've decided to work more with sitting positions, because that's what apparently the whole planet is sitting more nowadays. Yeah. It's just become a thing, like another epidemic. I mean, we're still doing it, but now we're doing it more.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So please share with us your story. How did you arrive at where you are today? How did you discover all these amazing techniques that you now helping other people with?
Okay. Well, it kind of started when I got interested in studying dance, modern dance, about what, 40 years ago. And as I started, trying to learn and follow the steps, I started having problems. And the teacher would tell me, your shoulder blades are popping up. And she could see my shoulder blades, see my fingers? She could see like the corners of my shoulder blades from in front of me. That was telling her, you have a lot of tension there. How come your shoulder blades are popping up? So that's when I started realizing there was something in between my two shoulder blades that was not well connected. And then after one dance class, I ended up having to get out of the car because I couldn't turn my neck. My neck got frozen and I just couldn't turn the head. It's called torticollis. I don't know if that's the same word in English, but that's the word we use in Spanish. Maybe it's with a little bit of different pronunciation, but it's basically your neck freezes. So I had to go see a chiropractor, and I was very lucky to find one that also was an acupuncturist. So since then, I started going to chiropractors and finding ways of relieving myself, and I was only in my mid-20s. So something inside of me said, there's got to be a way that I can solve this by myself. So I went to the card catalog of a local library and I started looking. And I came across a book by a guy called Moshe Feldenkrais, who was a physicist. And when he retired, he started teaching a method that is now known as the Feldenkrais method. And that's how I got started. I got his book, I started reading, I got immediate relief from following his instructions. And about 7 or 8 years later, more or less, I decided I'm going to go to New York and see if I can find a teacher. Moshe was gone by then, but I was able to find a woman called Ilana Rubenfeld, and she taught not only Feldenkrais method, but the Alexander technique. And she blended that with Gestalt therapy. So I had already read a little bit about Gestalt therapy, and I just thought that was fascinating. That was so great. There was just like, I found my teacher. That was in 1985. That's when I started studying with her. And I finished starting with her around 1991.
Okay.
That's when I returned back to Panama.
Nice.
So
nice.
in a short, it's a short synopsis of how I came across and how I've been working with it.
Nice, nice. I love your story, listening to yourself and figuring out if you can figure it out on your own, and then stumbling upon this amazing, book and learning that method, and then traveling all the way to New York. So it was important to you to find that solution, to rediscover, how you can help yourself. And then what prompted you to start helping others?
Well, I should add that something that probably helped me a lot was that I meditated since I was in my 20s. And when you meditate, you wake up the inner healer. And the teachers that I had that orientation. They weren't healers themselves, but they were very interested in that. And they were always talking about it. And that kind of woke up my my intuition and my desire to explore more. So I started reading a lot and looking for books. And probably that's how I discovered or was led. I started vibrating with healing practices. And that's why I vibrated and attracted Feldenkrais's book. His book is called Awareness Through Movement. And yeah, I don't know if that answers exactly the question you made, but uh, I got interested in sharing what I was learning because I saw so much need in people around me. And once you become part of a community where you are learning to help others, then of course, naturally, you want to follow. And a lot of the people I was studying were psychotherapists, social workers, massage therapists. And there I was the only non-health related person at the moment. Eventually, I became a health practitioner. But when I started, all I had was civil engineering. I'm a civil engineer. But I knew already that Moshe was a physicist. So I figured out it doesn't really matter what your background is. This must be something that we all have inside. We all have inside that inner healer. And it's just a matter of waking it up.
I love that. I think it's very powerful that no matter who you were before, you can always discover within your personal healer, because we have all answers inside of us. It's just a matter of tuning in and listening and giving kind of pursuing action on what you have heard and not just dismissing it. So what do you want to be remembered by?
I want to be remembered as a person who has helped others make better use of their resources, of what they have, and how to project themselves out to be a better person, a better personality. We can all improve our personalities and make it more coherent with our desires. That is something very important, and it starts by knowing oneself. So I just want to be remembered as someone who has helped other people learn how to know themselves and in turn help other people. I think that if we all do that, we'll get a much better world.
Totally. Totally. I love your mission. I love what you want to be remembered by. I think it's very important just to discovering, people who they are and helping them on the way. What are three tips my listeners can implement into their life and become a better example for their kids? So for like single parents, what do you think they can do?
Okay. One of the important things one of the important functions parents have is giving their kids a good model to follow. And I think that starts with action, movement, using your body effectively, productively. If you're not showing that to your kid, then they're going to learn exactly just to be that, to be a potato couch, or is it couch potato? I don't know. One way or the other. It's the same thing. You're just sitting, you're not doing too much with your body. And guess who the 2-year-olds are looking at when they see you moving around? It's whomever is around, and that's how they learn. So we have to become, as parents, we have to become good models. And one of the best ways to do that is by taking care of ourselves. How we sit, how we walk. And personally, I was born in a family where nobody talked about that. You know, when I started having problems, I knew I have to go somewhere else, because here in this family, nobody has ever mentioned even the word muscle or joint or you know. So I had to figure that out by myself. And you'll make your kid's life a lot better if you start doing that, not pushing it, but just doing it for your own sake. They'll want to imitate you.
Totally. I do that. I'm actually going through a fitness certification, a 10x fitness, and at home you got to do workouts. So I do the workout and they get to
Great.
see.
And
And
I guess your kids,
I don't push onto them, just fun for them, but like grabbing on and doing pull-ups, and but seeing, yeah, that, you know, exercise is good. And in the morning I walk. My daughter sees me walk, so I hope I'm planting some little seeds. You know, that
how old is your
movement.
daughter?
She's 12 and my son
Uh-huh.
is 7. And yeah, it's just at home, yeah, they see that I work out. So I hope
Exactly.
that they get that, you know, implanted in them, maybe. That it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's not feels forceful. And it's not just, you know, I know especially in the last 2 years since pandemic started, they saw me more, of course, sitting online in front of a computer. And it's kind of,
So
if you
active.
take, yeah, it's like 80% of your time you spend on the computer.
So, well, you know, you're giving them a good example by, and probably just the reason that you chose to become a fitness instructor and are taking a course, that tells me that one way or the other, you've been a good model already. You wouldn't be interested in that if your own mobility wasn't something that you've been sort of one way or the other taking care of, looking after it. And so that's what they've been seeing since day one. And that's the whole thing. It's just that you're projecting that, and that's what they will remember, because the first 6 years, they're just like little sponges. They're already seeing that. So when they see you now taking the course, that's not big news to them. It's just something logical. There she is. She's always been doing something with her body. Great.
Yeah, I sing, I dance, I paint, I do all those crazy things, you know, to keep myself happy and motivated. And I think it's
Exactly.
important to exercise, because movement is life. When we stop moving, we cripple ourselves. When we don't, you know, when we, especially now in the long hours, it's better we gotta take, I call it a decision. Do we want to move and be healthy, or do we want to stay, but then we got to spend the time being sick? So it's the decision we got to make every time when it
Yes,
comes, like, how do you want to spend your life? Do you want to have a vibrant, energetic life full of movement, or do you want to be sick and complain about your health?
exactly. Exactly. We have the choice, and we have to do something about it. And it starts in the family.
Mhm.
It's the best place where it can start, because then your kids will just follow that and find their own way of doing that. Every generation has their own way of doing that. I have to say that one thing that was, for instance, in my case, my mother liked to swim,
Mhm.
and she would take us to swimming classes. So in a way, she was showing us that. So that's one good model I got. You have to be active. So I never saw my dad to do too much, but at least my mom was showing us you have to move your body and you have to work. You have to get involved in some activity. You know, that's excellent for your kids.
Right, right. Yeah, I did take my daughter for 8 years to swimming, and she learned how to swim. With my son, he kind of learned by himself. We didn't have a good teacher for him, but he learned it as well. So what is Heiko? Do you have an exercise that people can do at home?
Yes. One of the areas, I'm going to move this a little bit farther away so you can see me better.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that always people get into trouble is this area, the neck. So I'm just going to demonstrate very, very rapidly a movement that I was taught by Ilana at the beginning. It's this one. You just turn the head from side to side without forcing and looking at the line of the horizon, as if you were looking at the ocean, at the sea line. And when you turn the head from side to side, you try and sense what stops my neck from turning. And I can sense, for instance, that I can turn my head to the left much more easily than I can do it to the right. There's a tiny little difference, but I can feel it. So now I am going to extend my arms in front of me at shoulder height. And then I am going to cross the hands like this at the level of the wrist and interlace the fingers and then slowly drop them down. And then in the space between my arms, I'm going to bring the hands up. And my fingers should stay interlaced, but not like this, but like this, exactly. So you go down, and at the beginning, when you do this, it may be a little bit difficult on your wrist and in your forearms. So just go slowly. It's not a matter of stretching them quickly or fast. It's a matter of feeling when you try and do this, what stops you? If you cannot go all the way, that's fine. You get up here and then you return to the initial position. And you keep doing this. You keep doing this until you can come all the way and hold the fingers interlaced together. Now, once you have it in front of you, like that, once you are able to do this easily, up and down with the hands interlaced, then exactly, then you start making a circle in front of your face. And pay attention to the space between your shoulder blades. Just notice how your shoulder blades and your shoulder joints, where the arm and the shoulder blade connect, how that is moving. So keep looking straight ahead. Don't let your chin go up or down. The reason we look at the line of the horizon is to keep the chin level with the ground, and then reverse. Let's do a few more in the opposite direction. And this is like a pre-warm-up to any activity you do. For instance, in the fitness training that you're taking, if you release your neck muscles before you do anything else, whatever you'll do will feel a lot better. Now, let's just get out of it and then just shake the hands. Okay, now bring your hands back to your knees and then turn the head from side to side. What do you notice?
No strain. It moves much better.
Exactly. Because what was happening when we were doing this thing with the hands, the shoulder blades in the back were going like, and all of that movement was slowly and gently traveling along the line of the spine. And now all these muscles here at the occipits are more relaxed. And that's one of the things that tends to get very tense. So That's a very good initial thing to start doing. And it's a way of releasing all that tension we tend to accumulate by holding the cell phone, especially when you hold it like this. You know, most people do this and they start working. It's better to get a tripod like I'm using right now. I have a tripod where I have the phone, so I don't have to touch the phone. And a lot of people these days are just using the phone. We only use laptops when we need to do like a special work. So I bought myself almost 2 years ago a good tripod, because I knew holding that thing in the hand all day long, it's not very good for the neck. It's terrible. And if you can take that pressure off, and another thing that needs to be done is finding space for your eyes to look at objects far away and then come back. That's another of the lessons that I teach in groups, locally and internationally. I've been, in the past 2 years, I've been working with people outside of Panama because, well, there aren't that many practitioners in the world that do this type of work. It's fitness is very popular, but it's mostly related to the big muscles. And the work I do is mostly related to bringing together the little muscles and the big muscles, connecting them and recognizing how they all can interact. And when they're more harmoniously connected, you know, we perform better.
Totally. I love it. I think it's very important, you know, to being able to use all parts of your bodies in the right way. So they are functioning properly, because we have this one body for this one lifetime. And if we don't spend time taking care of it, then how like we're not going to last much longer. Just like if we have like a speed, like fast car, like Ferrari or something, right? We're going to put nice gasoline. We're going to make sure it all runs smoothly. And same should be applied to our bodies. We should put the right kind of food, right kind of exercise, right number hours of sleep, so we are rested, that we can have this body and utilize it to the best potential.
Exactly. Only we can do that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a good thing that you are bringing this information to your students and to the people following you, because it's the best way to teach their children is by example.
Yes. Yeah. Doesn't matter what we say, it's what we do that matters, because that's what they see.
Exactly.
If people would like to work with you, where would they find you?
They can look for me in my Facebook group. I can put that in the chat, or I can send you the link later on, so you can have it and share it. I don't know how you're going to.
Yeah, we're gonna have all the links in the episode notes. So underneath the video or audio, it's gonna be all there.
So I can do that later. I'll just send you the Facebook group. And I also have a web page that it's not very actualized. It's actually it's a little bit old. I'm working on a new one that is going to be more related to how to improve your movements while you're sitting and while you're consuming information. So I think I'm calling this something at your desk. Improve your posture at your desk. We can do it if we start paying attention. And we're all consuming more information than ever before. And the way to do it is through a phone or through a laptop. And many times we're just listening. And we can start doing little things with our body so that by the time we finish the interaction, our bodies are not so stiff and so frozen into a position. Because if you sit there and you just listen and you don't engage your body and you don't move it a little bit, then, and you end up doing this 3, 4, 5, 6, some people 8 hours a day, then when you try to go to sleep, it's going to be very difficult. Your body is too tense. And some people need help with that because that's how they're earning a living. The use of the phone and the laptop has become a necessity. So that's why I am coming up with a new website that I'm working on that will be directly, and I'll send you that information. It's probably going to take me like a month before I get it ready, but I'll send you that information when I have it ready. But what they can do right now is just follow the Facebook group.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom and the importance of functional movement in day-to-day living. Doesn't matter if you're a parent or if you're just a single person. I think it's important to move your body so that you can have the best possible experience here on Earth, utilizing the assets that you do have, developing them, nourishing them, feeding them right, exercising them, just like a well-oiled machine.
Exactly. You know, if we don't take care of the vehicle we're in,
Yes.
you know, we're just going to have a very difficult lifetime. It behooves us to take care of ourselves. So I want to thank you, Irina, for this opportunity. It's really wonderful. And I've always thought that one of the best ways to start is with kids. And I haven't worked too much with kids, but they learn very, very fast. I started with 6-year-olds at one point with one class. I only gave one class. It was quite an experience. They move so fast that, you know, they want to take over. Very easy for them to take over, especially if they are ADHD. You know, those are really, it's quite a challenge to work with those kids. But I've also worked with babies. Even babies can get stressed out. Yeah, I was so surprised when someone asked me to work with the babies. But when babies don't come out through the womb, they don't come out through the regular way, the way they're supposed to, that creates a problem. Cesarean kids need stimulation because they haven't struggled through the birth canal. And that's why they hired me to help their kid, because it was a kid that was always, it was very tense. It was like and who knows what else was going on in that family. Maybe the kid was already, you know, parents that are too tense transmit that to your kid. Yeah. So that's another reason for taking care of yourself right from the beginning.
You
know.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your story, your advice, and I'm glad to have you.
Okay, Rina, thank you. And anytime you want to have another conversation, please let me know. I'm open to it.
Will do.